Hi everyone, welcome to Psychology 202, which is general psychology. Excited to get started with you and welcome to week one. Each week there will be video and written announcements posted within that week where it says week one announcements, week two announcements, so you can always look for these. Please note that the videos do contain more information than the written announcements, so you do want to look at both. Please read carefully through the home page. It's going to connect and link all your projects, the notary form, and other valuable information, things that you need to do. Please read the how-tos carefully, and please read the rubric for how you'll be graded for discussion questions. So we're going to start with week one. Our objective this week is that you will be able to describe key concepts, principles, and overarching themes in psychology, develop knowledge of content domains, and describe applications of psychology. I believe we'll have this objective every week as we continue to work with those kinds of things. Objective 2, students will demonstrate basic psychology information literacy. So that means you're going to be using the appropriate terms and able to explain what things mean and show that you are learning. Objective 3, students will learn to apply psychology-based principles to diverse populations with a focus on privileging scientific inquiry over popular or political agendas. We definitely live in a time where everything is politically correct, but we're going to be focusing on what science and the Bible say rather than what people are saying. Objective 4, students will demonstrate effective writing and presentation skills. So I've included websites for bibme.org as well as Grammarly. Grammarly is a free website where you can insert what you're about to paste into the website and it will correct the grammar for you. You don't want to be coming back with a C just because you didn't put periods in and check your grammar and just write to a college level. I am very, very picky about writing to a college level standards, so please take advantage of those, the bibme and the Grammarly, so that your writing is up to par with college level standards. Objective 5, students will apply psychological content and skills to career goals, exhibit self-efficacy and self-regulation, and refine project management skills. The other thing you need to do is take a really careful look at plagiarism. Students do receive zeros if they plagiarize. So for every assignment, there'll be a reminder on there to include the citation at the bottom or the top, and to make sure that any knowledge that isn't common knowledge, like the 4th of July is Independence Day, for example, needs to include either a direct quoted citation or an indirect citation where you're just putting the author's last name at the end of the information. This is whether you paraphrase it or not, because the idea is you didn't know this information, you got it from the text, and so you need to give credit where credit is due, whether you're directly quoting them or paraphrasing and using your own words. This week's topics, thinking critically with psychological science. So this is going to be defined as the science of behavior and mental processes. The chapter is going to look at psychology from ancient times until today. You are going to learn about the biopsychosocial approach that integrates work from different psychological fields. You're going to have an overview of the diverse subfields within psychology. So if the field of psychology interests you, you're going to see all the different ways and careers, ways to be involved in careers you could have. Chapter 1 is going to explain the limitations of intuition and common sense in reasoning about behavior and mental processes. So again, we're looking at the scientific method, what science tells us, and you're going to look at research ethics. So an example is they used to do experiments on children and families before there was more of like an ethics requirement to research, and so the idea was, well, we're harming these people to learn, and so what effects does that have on them after the research is over? And so there's now guidelines where research is considered ethical or not. So we don't do research that harms people, and if it has a potential to harm them, they have to be warned and aware ahead of time. You're going to learn about the SQ3R study method, which you may even want to try using yourself to retain and learn information. Pay particular attention to the strengths and weaknesses of descriptive and correlational research when you read about it. In addition, make sure that you understand the method of experimentation, especially the importance of control conditions and the difference between independent and dependent variables. Next, we're going to look at some things you'll find in Chapter 2. Chapter 2 is about the functions of the brain and its component neural systems, as well as the role of heredity and environment in organizing and wiring the brain. So we're going to look at how genetics versus the way that we're raised and the environment that we're raised in, how those impact us and play into who we are as people. The brain's increasing complexity arises from new brain systems built upon the top of old brain systems. So your brain has a lot of plasticity. There's a lot of new research out that the way that we think can turn our genes on or off. Even in cases with anxiety and depression, that the way that we choose to think, like the Bible says, as a man thinks in his heart, so is he, really is true. And we do have a certain amount of control over that. You're going to learn about the different hemispheres of the brain, the frontal, parietal, occipital, and temporal lobes, and the function of each of those. It's pretty amazing to see how God created our brains. And you're going to look at studies of split brain patients that have given researchers a great deal of information about how the brain's left and right hemispheres function. So we know when comparing people who have split brain injuries, or they've had surgeries where the corpus callosum is severed, so the two hemispheres of the brain can't communicate. When we compare studies of those people to people who have intact brains, we can see quite a bit of the specialty of each lobe of each hemisphere of the brain. And the field of behavior genetics studies twins and adopted children to weigh genetic and environmental influences on behavior. So lots of interesting stuff there. So you're going to be reading, that's chapters 1 and 2 this week. Please also note materials needed for success. You can quote this as well when you're doing your discussion posts, but please make sure you also include information from the text. I'm not just looking for your opinions each week or what you think about a question. I'm looking for you to show me and prove to me that you learned and read the material. Otherwise, I have no way of knowing what you know. So that's how I check to see if you're doing the coursework. You're going to answer discussion question 1 by Wednesday, a minute before midnight, and the second one by Saturday. Those are 250 word minimums each. I recommend typing up your response in a Word document so you can see the word count, and then copying and pasting in. You might also want to put it in Grammarly first if writing is an area that you need support in. Then you have 3 responses to classmates. You need to post these on different days of the week. They are a 150 word minimum, and all of these are due by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Additionally, this week you'll have assignment number 1, and you need to post your introductory video on the Meet Your Classmates link, which is worth 5 points. I don't, as a rule of thumb, do extensions for late work. It hasn't worked out well in the past. It ends up everyone gets behind, and then they don't pass the course, and then even with extensions, it doesn't seem to be successful. So I can't emphasize enough, please, please, please keep up with the work each week. Do not wait until Saturday or Wednesday to figure out what the assignments are. Some of these assignments take several days and quite a few hours to complete, so you'll want to really pay attention to the pace of the course. All right, I think that's all that I have for now. I look forward to hearing from you. If you have any questions, please send me an email. I'll get back to you just as soon as I can, and I look forward to working with you.